Better Call Saul Season 6 has just begun on Netflix and AMC, and after the first few episodes, I'm loving everything we are seeing. From Saul and Kim's plans to take down Howard, to Nacho fighting to stay alive, and Gus feeling the heat, the show has built on dramatic and tense plot threads for the final season, and as the episodes go on, I hope they can really capitalise on them. In this spoiler review, I'm going to be giving you my recap of Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 1 entitled Wine and Roses, and Episode 2 titled Carrot and Stick, discussing my general thoughts on the episodes and recapping the events. But before I get into it, if you want to see more videos on the final season of Better Call Saul and other upcoming shows like Netflix's OZARK, then don't forget to support this video by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into my recap and review for Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 1 and 2. So Better Call Saul's final season starts in a fantastic way. It may be reaching the stylistic tension that Breaking Bad simmered with, but it keeps its identity with moments of extreme tension, moments of hilarity, and everything in between. It could have easily just become Breaking Bad after the cliffhanger of last season, with us inching ever so closer towards the timeline of that show, but while it feels like the series is being dipped into the Breaking Bad source, what we love about Better Call Saul is still ever present. So what happens in the first 2 episodes of Season 6, titled Wine and Roses and Carrot and Stick? Well, in the Season 6 premiere, all of the assets in the luxurious home of Saul Goodman, played by Bob Odenkirk, are boxed up, while a life-size cutout of him is put straight in the trash. In the flash-forward opening of the episode, instead of a monochrome scene like we are used to seeing, we got one that has transition to colour, in which all of Saul's assets are taken away from his home. We focus in on the famous bottle top, which once again highlights that this show is more focused on the little details that evoke actual meaning, rather than using its runtime to explain everything through dialogue as if we don't already know. But alongside the future scenario of what we're eventually leading towards with Saul Goodman, there are more plot threads in this coming together narrative that takes a huge boil in the start to Season 6. Nacho had already attempted to cross the US border in avoiding both the cartel and the police, and after surviving the attack by Gus Fring, Lalo goes to his doppelganger's house, kills him, and burns his body in an unrecognisable manner so that everyone believes he is dead. But he does inform his uncle Don Hector that he's still alive, which might be a slight mistake on his part, because Gus Fring discovers this once he visits Hector to create a sense of peace. While this tension is building, we come back to Kim and Jimmy, with Wexler appearing to be doing well as a pro bono attorney, while Jimmy appears anxious following all the things he went through at the back part of Season 5. He was convinced that Lalo is dead, but remains quite tense, and while having to battle those emotions, he and Kim decide to look for a new office. And we know that this will be the one he has in Breaking Bad, alongside that of the Statue of Liberty inflatable that we see later in Episode 2. But in the opening episode, Saul and Kim really start to put their plan into motion surrounding that of taking down Howard. In a quite funny scene, Saul pretends to be interested in joining Howard's golf club, and when he gets access to his locker, he places a little plastic bag in there to be disguised as cocaine, when actually it's just baby powder. And to Saul's luck, Clifford Maine is with Howard when he opens the locker and sees the substance. So already in the first episode, we've got Saul and Kim setting the seeds for the con on Howard, and Nacho is waiting in a motel doing what he's told to stay alive until Gus's men can apparently pick him up. Then comes episode 2, and this is definitely my favourite of the two they released. It's no surprise that Breaking Bad show creator Vince Gilligan, who also directed last season's classic episode Bagman, is once again back in the director's chair, apparently doing 3 of the final season's episodes. And this is yet again a great one from Vince. In the appropriately named episode Carrot and Stick, we follow straight from the events of episode 1, with Kim building out a scheme which Saul agrees to carry out, and we fully see her Breaking Bad shift in motion come the end of this episode. Saul approaches the Kettleman's motorhome, one which has that Statue of Liberty inflatable outside, and of course they are the couple from the beginning of the entire show, and he persuades them that Howard was doing cocaine while defending them, and that if they engage him as their attorney, he will clear Craig's name of whatever happened to them in the years since. Betsy, who was anxious about taking on Saul originally in season 1, immediately goes against employing him, but because of their situation, it won't be long before they take this cocaine incident straight to Clifford Maine himself. As scheduled the next day, she and Craig go to see Maine to get him to take the case, but none of the lawyers there are going to defend them. They are told they won't have a case, and this sends Betsy straight back to Saul as she realizes that he is plotting something against Howard. This is when, at the end of the episode, Kim intervenes, showing us her complete transformation and that she is truly broke bad, with her threatening to inform the IRS about their latest scheme. It's only going to pick up from here, but with us seeing the inflatable outside and the nature of Kim in this season so far, there is truly going to be some tragic and dark events to this scheme along the way. But Saul's new office, his famous car with lawyer up plate from Breaking Bad, are explicitly mentioned and of course briefly seen, so the endgame of this is going to be taking form quite quickly in the episodes to come. And the episode ends with another twist in that someone appears to be following them in a car once they leave the Kettleman's residence. So who could this be? Well, it's safe to believe that this isn't Howard nor even Lalo, because when he speaks with Hector and decides that they need proof, Lalo is unaware that Saul has evidence towards Gus being involved in transporting Lalo to Mexico. So whoever is following Saul and Kim, the only person I suspect that it could be is Gus or one of his men, presumably Mike. With Gus discovering that Lalo is still alive, he needs to directly take action to ensure the attempt on Lalo's life is not connected to him. So I think in the next episode, Saul and Kim will be transported by one of Gus's men to speak with him directly and try and sort out everything that is up against them. Also, the same car is owned by Mike, so it definitely looks like it's either him or one of Fring's men. The show's plot lines have truly come together, and so have Saul and Gus. And speaking of one of those other plot lines, we come back to the question of Nacho's survival. This of course brewed a certain feud between that of Gus Fring and Mike Ehrmantraut as a result of the circumstances that unfold. Nacho is discovered by the Salamanca twins shortly after he suspects that Gus has basically left him there to die as a form of creating peace with the Salamancas themselves, but we learn that when they attack, the cartel needs Nacho alive since they don't know who ordered the hit. Of course, Lalo and his uncle suspect and probably think it's Gus, but they want more proof. While Nacho's trying to escape, he crashes his pickup truck into another vehicle during the gunfight. Nacho isn't likely to be dead, of course, because Mike receives a call during his showdown with Fring after the shootout occurred, and he's probably in cartel custody. He informs Gus that he has received a call from Nacho and that he wishes to speak with him, and we know that now everything is about to kick off between Gus and the cartel. And if the Salamancas believe that Gus was the one who ordered the hit, then they will of course go after him. This would complicate things because the cartel's leader, Eladio, quite admires the Los Polos Hermanos boss, but I'm sure that will come to an end with the process of betrayal. We'll have to see what happens, but as I said, I think this is where Gus gets in Saul because of the evidence, and this will really collide everything we've seen so far into even more dangerous territory. So what did I think of the opening 2 episodes? Well, it's a really strong start, and the writers have done an amazing job at seamlessly connecting all 3 different genres and tones into one engrossing storyline. We get the traditional slow burn yet meaningful progress of events, sprinkled with the payoff of action that made Breaking Bad so good before it. But the infuse of comedy and well-written character struggles to contrast it make this start all the more hooking. We move from insane action to the stoic schemes of a drug boss to the heart and descent of our 2 main leads. Kim and Saul are not of 2 different worlds anymore like they were for a lot of this show. They are now a part of the same one, the bad choice road philosophy rather than the more successful one aligned with Howard. In a twisted way, you're rooting for Saul and Kim, even though deep down you know they are quite unforgivable, and that's because of extraordinary writing and filmmaking on all ends of the spectrum. Just from the focus on smaller objects like the bottle top opener left at the side of the road, or the world's best lawyer mug and cardboard cutout thrown in bins, the called for tragedy is all the more approaching. The con they are trying to pull on Howard is fun to watch, yet the reality of it is that this will probably end with something bad happening to him, even though it's not right. Yes, Howard looked down on Jimmy like his brother, but Saul and Kim are completely going beyond it here. It reminds us that the performances and writing of this show is only going up, becoming more complex, more detailed, and even more satisfying. The breathless tension has only been escalated, the tragedy and laughs are only more impactful, and having all of this balanced so well just makes me wonder, how can they keep raising the bar? Years of plot lines and planning is fitting in place so well that when we do get to the eventual fates of characters not seen in Breaking Bad, it will be totally worth it. Well, I hope so, because up until now, the writers haven't dropped the bar. The bar is only going up, and as Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad's worlds collide, I expect it to reach a monumental conclusion. The first 2 episodes continue to ooze confidence, and while it's not promised, it's a very good indication that this show will go out guns blazing. And it's in characters like Nacho and Kim that we are really feeling either the sympathy or worry that this show needs to stimulate reaching the back end. Even the familiar faces from Breaking Bad are more detailed, and that is extremely telling since Better Call Saul is a prequel series. The fact that I honestly don't have a clear idea over how they will tackle the end of characters like Kim and Nacho alongside that of the recurring ones puts this show in a very strong place. But the turn of the page from Better Call Saul to Breaking Bad is of course inevitable, and with other characters like Walt and Jesse soon to pop up, that idea will be firmly highlighted. All I hope is that, like everything we've seen so far, that they execute this smoothly and not just have it feeling like cool cameos. But we fans of the show know that these writers don't tend to do that, and that they treat their story with the respect that they came in with. Now it's just time to sit back and trust them once again as the car speeds further and further down Bad Choice Road. But that was my spoiler review and recap for Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 1 and Episode 2. The writing and pacing is absolutely brilliant here, the performances are of another level, and the building of tension is something that no other show on TV is doing quite as well right now. If this final season continues this run come its last few episodes, there's honestly a genuine debate to be had over whether it's as good or even better than Breaking Bad. But it's crucial to note that Better Call Saul has established its own territory without the need to act as simply a prequel. This is the trap that many spin-offs, sequels and prequels of other franchises fall into, and I think that Better Call Saul really deserves as much attention as that of its predecessor. Once the second episode finished, I was honestly ready to dive straight into another, but I think the developments and tension that has been set in motion is going to carry all the way through to next week. I think we may have something really special on our hands come the end of this show, and all that's left now is for Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould to land the ending to another great show that they've conceived. I'm giving Season 6, Episode 1 and 2 of Better Call Saul a rating of 9.25 out of 10. But to those who have already seen the first few episodes, what are your thoughts on the way the final season of Better Call Saul has kicked off, and what do you think will happen in episode 3? Let me know down below in the comment section. For videos on every episode of Better Call Saul Season 6, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.